"Hey, pal, how do you get to town from here?" And he said, "Take a right where they're going to build that new shopping mall. Go straight past where they're going to put in the freeway, and take a left at what's going to be the new sports center. And keep going until you hit the place where they're thinking of building that drive-in bank. You can't miss it." And I said, "This must be the place."
Saul Bellow wrote in his novel Herzog, "He let the entire world press upon him. For instance, what it means to be a man. In a city, in a century, in transition, in a mass, transformed by science, under organized power, subject to tremendous controls, in a condition caused by mechanization, after the late failure of radical hopes, in a society that was no community and devalued the person, owing to the multiplied power of numbers that made the self negligible."
The artist, Leon Golob.
Well, two things are going on. They're contradictory, but they're the same thing. It's very strange in a certain kind of way. The world gets totalized more all the time. It gets bigger, it gets more massive. Communication makes it closer, and so on. So it's being totalized. At the same time, communication is making it atomized. So it's being broken down all at the same time. So we're living in this world where everything around us is huge, enormous, deterministic, everything else. Everything at the same time is being broken down, you see, disjunctive, falling apart.
Chiamare qui velocemente, vediamo un po' una cosa, aspetta un attimo, adesso ritorno da voi. Io vorrei chiamare qui velocemente i bambini che hanno disegnato i personaggi che fanno paura. Mettetevi seduti da questa parte.
In Wiesbaden auch die Mainzer Stadtrat, die nun seit langem diesen Verkehrsverbund
第二次世界大戦後、東と西を結ぶ主な交差点となりました。1961年には大きな
The critic, Frederick Jameson. At some point, following World War II, a new kind of society began to emerge, variously described as post-industrial society, multinational capitalism, consumer society, media society, and so forth. New types of consumption, planned obsolescence, an ever more rapid rhythm of fashion and styling changes, the penetration of advertising, television, and media generally to a hitherto unparalleled degree throughout society. The replacement of the old tension between city and country, center and province by the suburb and by universal standardization. The growth of the great networks of the superhighways and the arrival of the automobile culture. These are some of the features which would seem to mark a radical break.
Victor Bergen.
It's not that we, woke up in, like whenever it was and said, "Oh my God, it's the era of postmodernism already," any more than anyone woke up and said, "Shit, it's the Renaissance." So I don't think history moves like that, and any suggestion that it does, I think, has to be resisted. There have been enormous changes brought about by such things as microchip technology, by nuclear weaponry, by the mass bombardment of civilian populations, by terrorism as a way of responding to frustration, by the increased ubiquitousness of techniques of surveillance and oppression, control, which is a response to this, perhaps a growing paranoia.
Thomas Grinners. When countries and firms are ranked by either gross national product or gross annual sales, General Motors, Exxon, Ford, Shell, General Electric, IBM, Mobil, Chrysler, Unilever rank among the 50 largest countries.
Terry Atkinson.
And I wonder about, for example, my own kids being produced as some kind of smooth, unquestioning cogs in a big multi-capitalist Valhalla. On the other hand, I don't think one should think that that's stable. I think one of the characteristics, I think, of multinational capitalism, despite its apparent ability to spread this homogeneous cultural patina across particularly, I think, the societies of the West, is that it is really quite unstable.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all engines running. Launch commit.
Jean-Francois Lyotard. The postmodern. It's based fundamentally upon the perception of the existence of a modern era that dates from the time of the Enlightenment and that has now run its course. And this modern era was predicated on a notion of a progress in knowledge, in the arts, in technology, in human freedom as well. All of which was thought of as leading to a truly emancipated society. A society emancipated from poverty, despotism, and ignorance. But all of us can see that development continues to take place without leading to the realization of any of these dreams of emancipation. So today, one no longer feels guilty about being ignorant.
At 123.11, the value line cash index is up 0.6, December down 0.45, the technology index is up 0.26 at 95.31.
Then he came up with this ridiculous
That's 1-800.
Jean Baudrillard. Speech is free, perhaps, but I am less free than before. I no longer succeed in knowing what I want. The space is so saturated, the pressure's so great from all who want to make themselves heard.
I like this, being on a bicycle.
Lubaina Himid.
I don't see any change happening. You know, I do see people wanting that change, but I don't see anything happening. I just see that kind of main order getting further and further entrenched. And using the myth that there are all sorts of different people knocking at the door and trying to change those things, just to divide those smaller sections from each other.
Susan Sontag. Cameras define reality in the two ways essential to the workings of an advanced industrial society: as a spectacle for masses, and as an object of surveillance for rulers. Social change is replaced by a change in images. The freedom to consume a plurality of images and goods is equated with freedom itself. As we make images and consume them, we need still more images, and still more.
Mary Kelly.
I'd say the positive aspect of the postmodern condition is that we no longer see a kind of hierarchy of practices or ideas. That means we've got rid of the kind of dogmatism of the correct view. But that doesn't mean anything goes. What the other side of that is lack of commitment. And I think that in this productive moment of realizing that the social comprises a number of different expressions, that we have to be extremely positive about what aspect of that we're going to challenge and attempt to change.